All right, and welcome to the another episode of the Political Playbook. I'm Wyatt, and this is my co-host Darren. And today we've got a jam-packed 2-minute drill for you guys. Today we're going to be covering everything from the Sean Diddy Combs trial to the Epstein, Trump Elon beef and how the implications there, and then we're going to wrap it up with the Texas flash flood crisis that's going on right now. So, Darren, go ahead and kick us off, buddy.
All right. So yeah, the Diddy thing has been something that I've been pretty interested in since it started. I've certainly liked the jokes and about the baby oil and all that, and I've liked the conspiracy theories as well. But I'll go ahead. I'll Before I talk about that, let me kind of give a brief summary of where we're at as of now regarding the Diddy trial. So the Diddy trial ended on Wednesday, I believe, July 2nd. So he was convicted of 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution, but he was acquitted of the more serious charges against him, which were racketeering and sex trafficking. A lot of people were upset with this. My thing is, it's obvious that he is like an abuser because that's on videotape. Like it's on videotape of him like beating his partner Cassie Ventura. But I think pretty much everyone like in America right now, they almost think Diddy and they think like rapist or like yeah, like kind of like rapist is like what they think of. But I don't think he's a rapist. And I don't think I don't know to what extent he was extorting people. I kind of have like doubts about that as well, like him extorting people. I think basically his main victim, which was Cassie Ventura, she was basically enjoying these freak offs at the time. I mean, they had text messages of her saying, "Oh yeah, when's the next freak off?" Basically, like I can't wait, stuff like that. To me, I'm thinking, I think justice was served. I think justice was served, and honestly, I kind of hope he gets a little slap on the wrist. I mean, I mean, because ultimately, what did he do wrong? He ordered some prostitutes. That was really it. So, I mean, you shouldn't go around doing that, but that's not really like a serious crime.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I see what you're saying in that terms, but everything that I've read kind of made it seem like the it was a federal prosecutor, right? In Boston?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, the
In
federal
fact, it was
prosecutor.
James Comey's daughter, I believe.
And what a small world. Um
Yeah.
so yeah, from my understanding, the federal prosecutor they just bit off more than they could chew, right? So like rather than going at him for like domestic abuse and which I'm not even sure would stick federally, I figure that's mostly a state level charge, right? But they were really, really trying to get him on this racketeering thing, which of course he was found not guilty because I mean, it just seemed a little obvious. I mean, listen. I'm not defending the guy because, to be honest with you, I think this guy is a real piece of trash. All right. Not only does he hit women, but there are enough accusations at this point that there is some coercion involved, right? And I understand the text, and we'll get into that in a second. He's not a good guy, but that's different from being a criminal. You understand? Like that's just
Oh
because you're a
yeah.
bad guy
Yeah.
who's a total degenerate and having a bunch of, I mean, I apologies to the audience, but just total like orgies, like freak offs as they're calling them, right? I mean,
Hmm.
that might all be bad and disgusting to some people, but none of that's really illegal unless there's non-consensual sex involved, or if there's, like you said, prostitution. Which prostitution, like, let's all be real, it's a very minor thing. It's not it's not near the level of like racketeering to the point of like mass.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I just have trouble like again, like what you said, like he's obviously not a good person. Like
Well, yeah, he
this is
did beat
not
this. He
some
did beat this woman, right? Like that's not
uh
even in
it
dispute, right? There's videotape of it.
oh yeah, and it's one of these things like theoretically I could see maybe like it was an abusive relationship and maybe she's like afraid of him, which I'm sure she probably was to an extent. Maybe she wanted to go along with the freak off. I don't know, so that he wouldn't be mad at her, so the relationship would go well. I don't know, but it's one of these things. It's like there's just no way to get past that in court. It's like how could you be seen as a victim when you're literally like begging for the thing, but yeah, in some ways I almost feel bad for Diddy because
I don't.
a lot of
I don't
people,
one bit.
well, a lot of people made these like weird conspiracy theories, like, oh, he uh we're on YouTube, so don't hate me, but he graped Justin Bieber, you know. That was like a thing. You remember that
I
little
do
storyline?
remember. Yeah, I'll be honest
It's
with
like,
you. And for the sorry to cut you off, by the way. I don't really pay attention to many of these like celebrity dish stories, but I can't help but see some of the big ones. So I did see that one.
yeah, well, I mean, I just kind of, in that respect, I mean, I kind of feel a little bad for him in this sense because let's say like you're like some really, freakish degenerate like he is, and he definitely likes having a lot of sex. You probably want to keep that private to an extent. I mean, within reason. You don't want the world knowing about your baby oil stash, and in that respect, I do feel for him. And honestly, it's like, what we're gonna put the dude. He's in his 50s, I think. You're gonna put him away for like life for like having orgies. I mean, that just seems ridiculous on its face. Now, maybe he gets a solid, I don't know, 10 years. That seems a bit extreme, honestly, but maybe he gets 5, 10 years. He does have prior charges, prior things against him, I believe. So, there's kind of a pattern of antisocial behavior. I think the world would probably be better if he was removed from society for a little while. But I don't think he should die in jail by any means. So yeah, I don't think anything he did really amounts to that. I people had this like whole story in mind where that was concocted, where he was like some pimp, like who had like all these underlings that were like bringing him girls, and he's just not like he's not an Epstein tier villain, so
Yeah, I mean this what this seemed like to me. I mean, it seemed like the prosecutor was trying to stretch the fact that Diddy would be texting his boys, right? Some of them work directly under him, like officially. Some of them don't. But he was texting his boys like, "Hey, bring girls like to the party. Like we're trying to make sure there's tons of girls at this party, you know." And some of them hired prostitutes, right? And the prosecutors tried to stretch that into he's using his music business to have a prostitution ring and a coercion to like I said, it kind of developed into a land of conspiracy where it's like we're making leaps that aren't necessarily justified. Like if we were to take Occam's razor, it seems more likely that this dude, because there's no blackmail, right? Like there's no that's not even claimed by the prosecution. There's no blackmail, there's no like extreme money draw, there's no nothing. So the coercion would be for what? I guess just power. Okay, if that's the case, why didn't you have more than there was only two witnesses, right? It was this ex-girlfriend and then an anonymous, right? That was it. Yeah, yeah,
yeah. And
it just seemed like a bit of a stretch. And again, not a great guy still, right? I'm not going to say anything good about a man that puts hands on a woman, right? And I know that's white knightish of me, but my God, I mean, if you've seen the clip, it's indefensible, you know? But that doesn't mean he deserves to falsely spend, 150 years in prison.
Oh yeah, certainly, certainly. And I've got to say, this is kind of out of left field, but I almost feel like more interesting than the trial itself and Diddy itself, in terms of like something to discuss and opine on, is kind of like the reaction to the Diddy trial. Like, let me give you an example. Like, I saw this clip from Megyn Kelly, right? And she's like this Republican woman, famous for doing, moderating a Trump debate, basically.
The
But
Rosie O'Donnell one, right?
yeah, I think that was her. And but anyways, I guess for our purposes, all the audience needs to know is she's like this conservative woman, ostensibly, you would assume she would be against cancel culture, against like assuming guilt on a man, like what happened with the Me Too era, where there were some uh, unfortunate men who got caught up in all of that. I believe. Anyways, I saw a clip from her, and she said basically along the lines when the verdict was reached that she just couldn't believe it. She was beside herself. She was just berating Diddy. And I'm like, well, okay, you can feel that way and maybe you have a different interpretation of the trial, but he was found not guilty. And I don't, and we've said it, we don't think, he deserves any super, super harsh punishment for it. But something I was thinking about is how these conservative figures, conservative is really just like 10 years late to the party, because it's been said that conservatives are just where liberals were 5 to 10 years later. Are
Hmm.
conservatives kind of having like a Me Too moment? Like, are they kind of reviving the Me Too era, which the left has pretty much abandoned since they've discovered it's not like politically useful? Like, it's certainly nowhere near as intense. And let me give you another example just to bolster the point, and then you tell me, am
Sure.
I onto something here? Like, okay, so Nancy Mace, right? That crazy
Yes.
congresswoman.
Yep.
So she goes, uh, you know, onto the floor of Congress, and she's saying like, and she's like regaling everyone of how like she's been raped and victimized by her like ex fiance basically, and how like basically she's basically claiming, you know and there's been like a lot of other things like from this woman who I don't know, it's just hard to describe. It's like there's a lot of like sexual undertones with like the things this woman does. uh, you'll see it on like whenever she posts online. It's really off-putting, and like she brought handcuffs as well to the house floor. Like I can't remember what it was for, but she was like, "Oh, and if I'm wrong, I'm paraphrasing because I don't even remember what it was about. But if I'm wrong, then you can put me in these handcuffs and take me away." And with all that being said, I feel like she's almost reviving this Me Too thing because there's another incident where she was like claiming like these transgenders assaulted her in the like bathroom of, I don't know, one of these congressional buildings. So I don't know. And it's
Yeah, I mean,
obviously
listen,
like fake.
listen. It just whenever Republicans, I mean, it's fair to say that they've reclaimed a little bit of their cultural dominance, right? I mean, it's certainly more 50-50 than it was, say, in the Obama era, where this is where we got like the real cancel culture, well, the liberal cancel culture, the Me Too's, the um the other stuff, right? Like the tone police, the free speech, that type of stuff, right? The SJWs, you remember that? Um,
Yeah.
Jesus, what a time to be alive. But yeah, it's no shock that whenever the Republicans come back into cultural dominance, that they're going to assert some of that power. I have no doubt. They think like in our time, like there were several actors, several music groups that got censored as a part of the fact that the conservatives were in the majority in terms of the culture. It just kind of happens. Um, so yeah, it wouldn't shock me at all. Now I don't know how that's going to manifest in the year 2025, 2026, but there's, who knows? Maybe you're right. Maybe it's going to take this like almost like right-wing Me Too movement, you know?
Yeah, and that's something I've also been thinking about, where I'm kind of like reinvestigating some prior assumptions. I guess it's like, it because when liberals were going crazy with the cancel culture and the Me Too and all that, was that more of a function of like, the wind was in their sails, they had the cultural dominance at the time, so they just felt like they could inflict that upon people, and now that, so it's not really because they're liberal that they're doing that, it's because they had power, and that
Yeah,
almost
absolutely.
anyone. Yeah, so I guess basically what I'm saying is I don't think the problem is confined to a particular party or left leaning proclivity. I think I guess anyone in power is going to have crazies, and if they're not restrained, they're going to do all this. So, like Nancy Mace, for example.
Yeah, yeah. And I tell you what, dude, if I was Diddy, if I was like Sean Combs, I tell you what, I would immediately go on like Tucker Carlson's show and I would claim that the elites are trying to get him. And I would just totally grift off of this. I mean, could you
Oh
imagine
yeah.
how much money could be made? Because I'm sure there is a demographic, and I don't know, this is not my world to the audience, but I am almost certain that there is a demographic of people that will shell money towards this guy if he says that. Like, they're already like predisposed, I'm sure, to defend him, right? And then if he says stuff that they might, presuppose or already agree with, oh, I mean, just rake in the money, dude. Just rake it in.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that's
Well,
good. I'm just saying that it would make him a shitload of money. That's all I'm saying. I think it'd be awful to do, but that he
well,
could do it and it would work.
well, I think you're certainly right. I mean, I think he could probably go on Candace Owens or someone like her
Of course
easily.
he could.
And he would, I mean, she defends Harvey Weinstein, so why not him? I think Diddy has a far more credible case, so why not? Yeah, he could easily grift off this, and he could, I always kind of thought if he got put away for a long time that he could get a pardon from Trump, and honestly, I
You
could
think that's
see
still in the
Trump.
cards?
I think it is because I do think he probably will go away for a few years, probably not a super long time, but a few years, and I think Trump will think it'll be like, I don't know. I think he thinks it'll get him like brownie points with the blacks to like pardon him. So I kind of think he will. Like I think it's like a 50-50 chance that Trump pardons him, honestly.
No, I actually was. I hate that you literally, and I don't know if it's like common discourse or not, but I was actually telling myself, I was like, I bet, because Trump's not above pardoning people that he thinks that it'll like benefit him with, say, like the black community or the black voting population. There's a couple examples. I can't remember any off the top of my head, but I was thinking, I was like, that's
Kodak
who it,
Black.
yeah. I was like, is this possible that he's gonna get pardoned um if like the charges aren't like too bad? And sure enough, I was like, prostitution, Trump probably doesn't even recognize that as a federal crime. So like this is
Oh
absolutely
yeah.
in his wheelhouse.
Well, Trump's done it himself, so
Trump
I
said, dude,
assume.
it's
So
all bullshit, isn't it? It's all bullshit, Diddy. You know?
yeah. And there was a time where him and Diddy were friendly. I think when Trump became president, Diddy did make some remarks, I think, against him. So there were like there was definitely a rift after that. But there was a time, like back in the Apprentice days, where him and Diddy actually got along. So I could see them rekindling their friendship a little, and Donald Trump passing him a pardon for old time's sake. I don't think it's out of the
Well,
question
listen, the
in the slightest.
the the amount of pardons that Trump is going to give out in December or January of 2028 or 2029 is going to be quite the list, to be completely honest with you. So, why not? Like, no one's going to cry about Diddy, I assure you. You know what I mean? Like, um,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.